It's actually a very humble process to create. You show up, you sit down, and you work at it. That's it. It's simple, and yet it can be so difficult. Today we're going to be talking about the creative process and writer's block. I'm going to more specifically break down the step-by-step process of creating, of writing, and then kind of touch on things to keep in mind to prevent yourself from getting halted in each step of the process. I think a lot of people do talk about the idea of input or filling your cup. You know, you can be constantly taking in like new movies or reading books or meeting new people, going places, but if you're not allowing yourself time and space to actually think and feel what it is that you're experiencing and what it all adds up to, what is the meaning that you're kind of like siphoning from each experience, you're going to have a hard time actually being able to capture whatever thoughts or ideas that you could generate from that quote-unquote inspiration. This is one reason why like journaling is really helpful. It's because it can help you just day by day or week by week just pick out what is most valuable to you. It can kind of help you see what patterns you're recognizing in the world and help you determine what your values are. It can give you and your vision more of a direction, more of a focus, and it can also allow you to keep in mind questions that you have regarding what it is in the world that you're seeing. Also, I want to note that one of the worst things for your creativity is your phone, because it not only takes your attention away from your physical reality and abstracts you from potential ideas or observations, it also redirects your attention to just an innumerable amount of distraction that prevents you from experiencing your own consciousness. And you need to develop time for yourself to just be uninterrupted in experience or in thought. And then recognizing ideas and validating your visions. This essay, Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson, honestly changed my life. And let me just grab for you the quote. One second. So the quote is, "A man should learn to detect and watch the gleam of light that flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament of bards and sages. Yet he dismisses without notice his thought because it is his. In every work of genius, we recognize our own rejected thoughts. They come back to us with a certain alienated majesty." When you're first starting out with creating, it can be really difficult to even know when you have an idea and when you have something that's actually worth pursuing and kind of elaborating on. And so when we are intaking information and experiences and we're taking the time and space to reflect, it's only then that we're going to be able to have the room and recognize when it is that we do notice an idea and to pursue and to give life to it. So this is definitely one of the most important things about creating, is keeping track of your ideas. So it's good to write down your ideas. You could use voice memos, just anything that you have. With video making in particular, because there are so many different ideas and a lot of the subjects can be connected, I've started using Obsidian, which is really helpful for just keeping everything organized. And of course there are other apps that you can use. I know that Notion is a really popular digital note-taking app. I decided to go with Obsidian just because I thought that the node system and the external kind of mind map was a really interesting feature, and it felt very intuitive, and it felt like something that wouldn't give me a headache down the line. So that's something to definitely look into for yourself and decide for yourself what works best. It's in your best interest to outline or plan out the project. How long is this particular project going to take? The reason it's important to set up a timeline is because if you say you want to write something but you don't have an end date in mind, you're never going to get to it. You need to set for yourself a strict timeline of when you actually accomplish something. And that has a lot to do with the psychology of the mind. I find that if I don't schedule when I want a project done, I will sit on the project for a very long time. It really helps if you allow your first draft or your first run of something to just be raw and to allow for mistakes and allow for imperfection, because it's something that you can always correct. You can always improve a draft, but if you're looking at a blank page, you can't do anything about it. You have to just get over the fear of failure, the fear of not being able to execute your vision perfectly, especially when you're new with creating. Even if you have all the head knowledge that you could possibly need for writing something, it's not just knowledge that you need to write. You need to have experience. It takes discipline. It takes discipline to write when you don't feel like writing, to ignore everything that you're experiencing, anything that's going on in life. You just have to push through and take the time to actually work on what it is that you're trying to make. Just try and get it as good as you can with the skill that you have. You don't want to waste too much time. Honestly, your energy would be better used creating more output to the best of your ability, but not trying to overreach what you're capable of doing. Because it's through trying multiple times that you're going to kind of see what you're doing wrong, and then you're going to slowly improve. But you can't do that if you're stuck on this project that you're not working on because you're afraid that it's not going to be perfect. It's just a really bad way to go. It'll keep you absolutely stuck. After you have the first draft and it's the best that you can make it on your own, then you can refine your work. You can ask for other people to look at it, kind of give you feedback and see, okay, did I execute this well? What areas do I need to improve? You wouldn't want to ruminate too much about what you did because you can just make something else. At any point, you can start to doubt yourself and your ability. It can be really hard to follow through on projects if you have a lack of confidence in yourself or you have a fear of failure. Really, my only advice is you just have to ignore whatever thoughts pop into your head, and you have to just focus all of your energy on your work. You have to focus your energy on actually creating. It's never productive to just ruminate. And if you're thinking about a project, just shift your energy into working on the project. It's actually a very humble process to create. You show up, you sit down, and you work at it. That's it. It's simple, and yet it can be so difficult, but when you work through emotional resistance and environmental resistance, and you do the work regardless of how you feel, and you push through regardless of what's happening in your life, that's when you actually start to see progress with your work and you actually start finishing projects. As you notice, steps 1 through 5 is behind the scenes, and so it's something that should be like a kind of a routine part of your life. You're living life, you're experiencing, you're learning, and then you're having time to be alone and to think about what you're experiencing, to actually recognize when you have good ideas and you want to share that with other people. Keeping on top of, okay, what is the timeline? What do I want my body of work to look like one day? How much time should I allot for each particular project? And then just understanding, okay, this is going to take some time. This is the amount of time and the times in which I'm going to work on it. All of that occurs and is not in the final project in a way that's recognizable to the person that will eventually see your work, but it's all a part of the process for actually making it. Additionally, last note, if you're living a lifestyle where you're spiking your dopamine first thing in the morning, you're not going to be as productive and you're not going to want to work. There's plenty of information out there on that. You gotta try and focus your energy and your time in a way that actually benefits you to actually get things done. I think that's everything. All right, bye.